What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Boys Do Sports. Today we are going over Week 2 fantasy football starts and sits. Now, we'll go through a start and a sit at each position, and then we'll go over our favorite defenses for the week. Started off, quarterback, we're going to start Drake May. Not a very good showing last week, but the Dolphins just let Daniel Jones look elite and score almost 30 fantasy points. We know Drake May has plenty of rushing upside, but we didn't get to see it in week 1. We know Daniel Jones just scored 2 touchdowns and had 40-something rushing yards. What we did see, though, was him throwing the ball 46 times for 287 yards. His 46 attempts was tied for the most last week. If he adds his rushing numbers on top of that, then he is a must-start quarterback for week 2. Moving on to running back, we got Javonte Williams. Are we buying the hype on the 2-touchdown game? I don't know. We're going to see this week. Jaden Blue might be another inactive, which if he is, then Javonte Williams will get the passing down work again. Javonte Williams finished as the RB5 last week. I'm assuming thanks to the 2 touchdowns. And that was against the Eagles, who allowed the least amount of fantasy points to running backs last season. This Giants defense that he's going against let Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt rush for 82 yards on just 10 carries. That's the same Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt that just rushed like 4 times or 7 times. It was 17 yards against the Packers. Jerry McNichols had 4 carries for 25 yards, and Eckler had 6 carries for 26 yards, with 3 catches for 31 yards. Commanders running backs combined for over 6.6 yards per carry. So this defense might be easy to run the ball against. Next, we got wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. Kittle is out. Juwan Jennings is hurt and may not play. Brandon Ayuk is still on PUP. It's going to be the CMC and Pearsall show. Brock Purdy is not going to play this weekend. But Mac Jones proved last year he can support a number 1 wide receiver while he's playing with the Jaguars last season with an injured Trevor Lawrence. Pearsall continued his breakout from the end of last year with another 100-yard performance in week 1, and he was also 4th in air yards last week. Last, we got our tight end. We're going a little off the rails here because we are missing Kittle. I honestly think we're going to be missing Bowers, which sucks because he is the 9-10 o'clock Monday night game. So unless you have on sleeper like the fill-in for a hurt player, then you're pretty much screwed and just can't trust that Bowers is going to play. So we're going to go a little deep here. Harold Fannin Jr. The rookie tight end played all over the field and caught 7 of his 9 targets for 63 yards last week. He had a 72% snap rate and a 71% route per dropback in his first NFL game. So I think they plan on using him a bunch. He led college in receiving yards last year. I don't deal with college much, but it seemed like that was a big deal. He was tied for 2nd in targets to tight ends last week in the NFL. And the Ravens allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to tight ends last week, and we could just be seeing the beginning of another young superstar tight end in the NFL. So maybe he's our next Laporta, Bowers, McBride. We'll see. So we'll go ahead and hop into our sits. And I'm not trying to hate on Mahomes because I like Mahomes. But 45% of his fantasy points last week came with rushing production. And you just can't expect that to be repeated. He's not a big rushing quarterback. It's how it had to happen last week. And this Eagles defense is tough. They just held Dak to less than 8 fantasy points, which should have been more with some catches, but still. He has no Xavier Worthy, no Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce is just a shell of himself. He's 35 years old. The run game is just terrible. And last year in the Super Bowl, Mahomes had 3 turnovers and was sacked 6 times. So what do you think he's going to come out swinging? I'm afraid this whole offense just isn't going to be able to move. But it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, so you just never know. Running back, we are sitting DeAndre Swift. Now, he did have all of the running back touches last week, but he did not lead the Bears in rushing yards. That was Caleb Williams with like 50 something. But if there's something that I know about Dan Campbell, is his line's defense is going to come out hot and ready for revenge for how they played last week, which was ass. And Swift only had 3.1 yards per carry last week against the Vikings. Another tough run defense. So I think we'll see it again, what he's going to do. But the Bears' offense will not be successful through the run game this week. Next, we got wide receiver sit Michael Pittman Jr. Was the Daniel Jones success due to a really bad Miami team, or is this Colts team just that good? Is Daniel Jones that good? We've seen it before. I don't think we'll find out this week. They're going to get killed by the Broncos. Absolutely slaughtered. Pat Surtain is a shadow corner and absolutely shut Calvin Ridley down with only 27 yards and 6.7 fantasy points. PPR. I expect him to do the same to Michael Pittman, honestly. Tyler Warren is just going to take over that passing game because that's all they're going to be able to throw to. Our last sit, tight end, Travis Kelce. I know he was drafted as like the tight end 8, 9, but after seeing that was the Thursday night game or Friday night game, this man is 35 years old. He only had a 10% target share last week without Rice and Worthy in the game. That's terrifying. If the target hog from the last few years only has a 10% target share after the two best receivers are out of the game, like that just doesn't make any sense. They just didn't plan on using them, I guess. And the Eagles only allowed 35 yards per game to tight ends last season and just held Jake Ferguson to 23 yards. So that's not good. They also held Kelce to 39 scoreless yards in the Super Bowl. So I'm out on these guys. I'm out on Patrick Mahomes, DeAndre Swift, Michael Pittman, and Travis Kelce. If you can, I would sell Michael Pittman before the game Sunday because it's not going to be pretty. We're starting Drake May, Javonte Williams, Ricky Pearsall, and Harold Fannin Jr. I wouldn't be worried about Pearsall with no Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy's just a game-managing quarterback. Mac Jones can do the same thing. Now, a couple defenses. If your league still has defenses, the obvious ones that you're starting, the Broncos, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bills, the Vikings, the good defenses in the NFL. But these less-owned teams that you may be able to just pick up off waivers and start if you don't feel good about your matchup, the Rams, the Niners, the Cowboys, Cardinals, Chargers, Patriots, and Seahawks. Any of them good starts this week. Couple highly owned defenses that I honestly wouldn't start is the Chiefs against the Eagles against the Chiefs, and the Texans against the they play in the Bucks. Would not start Texans defense against the Bucks. I honestly don't know why the Texan defense is so big right now. Offense can't keep the ball, so it's gonna keep putting it on the defense. I know I said to sit all the Chiefs players, but you just never know. I mean, somehow, some way, Andy Reid could just make this offense work and the Eagles' defense not score points. But I get it if you have to. But thanks for listening, guys. If you haven't followed, please drop a follow. Go like our other socials and follow. Thank you.